on sight. And that's how it went down back in World War II.
1.
Trailer the trash. I'm gonna give you a blast from the past. Today we're talking about weapons, and the weapons that we're talking about, tanks. Today we're tanks had different jobs during this time period. Light tanks for scouting, medium tanks for medium combat, and yeah, the heavy tanks that would just roll in there and destroy everything. And then you also have your tank destroyers. It'd be kind of like the snipers of the warfield. They would just wait for the light tanks to roll up there, pull out the heavy tanks, and then they would just snipe them and destroy them. Which then led to Winston Churchill saying that if Hitler invaded hell, that the British would be ready to team up with the devil himself just to stop him, which means that Hitler was such a bad guy that Winston Churchill would be going to any costs just to stop him. You didn't count down. Trailer the trash. I'm giving you a blast from the past. I'm here to tell you about weapons used in World War II.
Keep going.
A pencil or something.
2 questions coming from the next section. Question number 5. What did the government do to private production during the war and why? Question number 6. Explain the importance of women to the war effort.
Welcome to April 2015's Crash Course with Mobilizing for Defense.
Well, hello there, me from the past.
What effects did the end of private production of automobiles have on the economy?
Well, me from the past, verdant. Within weeks of the shutdown in production, the nation's automobile plants had been retooled to produce tanks, planes, boats, and command cars.
Gee, thanks, me from the future. Still a virgin.
When you're so bored in history class that you come up with real history questions.
Why did the U.S. Army Air Force open its enlistment to African Americans? Well, for one, they wanted to prove that they're just as capable and devoted as any other race, which, in a time of fighting for equal rights, it was important to prove that they actually were.
Hey, look! It's the Hunchback of History!
What? Me? I am the Hunchback of History.
Well, hello there, Hunchback of History. How did the creation of the Women's Auxiliary Army Corps, not corps, because that's a beer, benefit our soldiers and our armies as a whole?
Hey, well, anyways, me from the past dropped an iPad while tripping on that carpet there while trying to record that Garrett over there. And so, anyways, we had to export it to another iPad, and so we can't go back and edit it. So now we're just going to go back and answer a few of the questions that we didn't quite answer fully in the first time.
Okay, other than what I said before, the shutdown in private production also helped the nation's automobile plants. Yeah, plants. By, now they can make anything they wanted. They can make war stuff. So they started making planes, AC-130ing it up. I don't know if that's from Modern Warfare 3, so I don't know for sure if it was back then. But they made planes. They made boats. They made tanks. Your little. They called them not U-boats because that's a submarine, but some kind of tanks. And then, since they could make all these planes and stuff, and there's probably a war going on during this time, so people needed planes and they needed tanks. So then they would hire people to build those planes and tanks. And then the rich people need their cars, right? Their Model Ts. And that's from Ford. They needed them to drive places. And it helped the economy because then more people got hired. It helped people get hired, and it just made money. Thanks, bud. Yeah, man. That's good.
just to reiterate my last point, one other reason why the United States military, Air Force, and Navy, and Marine Corps all opened up their doors to allow African Americans to enlist was because they needed a larger workforce. And they also allowed the women in the Women's Auxiliary Corps, which just overall provided a larger workforce to do any of and all of the same tasks as far as African Americans go, which was very significant and helped out a lot in the war. Well, the Hunchback's actually gone today because he's sick, and he was sick yesterday. Well, apparently he's actually dead, so yeah, somebody will be standing in for him.
How did the Women's Auxiliary Army Corps, WAC, benefit our soldiers and Army as a whole? Well, actually, WAC was made by George Marshall. Jorge maybe, probably George. And he was the Army Chief of Staff General, and he made WAC, W-A-A-C, and he said, and I quote, "There is innumerable duties of now being performed by soldiers that can be done better by women," which means, while the men are out fighting, the women can stay back and help the Army by making the bullets and cooking food and stuff for us. And people, I am not racist. And I am not sexist.
Spend all your time waiting for that second chance, for a break that would make it okay. There's always some reason to feel not good enough, and it's hard at the end of the day. Need some distraction. Oh, beautiful release. Memories seep from my veins. Let me be empty. Oh, and weightless, and maybe I'll find some peace tonight. In the arms of the angel, fly away from here, from this dark hotel room, and the endlessness to fear. You are pulled from the wreckage of your side.
One iPad was harmed in the making of this film. If you would like to donate to its family, please mail any checks to 7091 St. Louis River Road West.
Question number 7. What was unconditional surrender? Number 8. Explain what went into D-Day, what happened during this event, and the eventual results of this event. The next group does not cover this, but it's important information that you must know.
Hi, today we are going to talk about World War II.
By the winter of 1943, the Allies began to see victories on land as well as sea. The first great turning point came in the Battle of Stalingrad. For weeks, the Germans pressed in on Stalingrad, conquering it house by house in brutal hand-to-hand combat. By the end of September, they controlled 9/10 of the city, or what was left of it. Then another winter set in. The fighting continued as winter turned Stalingrad into a frozen wasteland. We just lay there in our holes and froze, knowing that 24 hours later and 48 hours later we would be shivering precisely as we were now, wrote a German soldier, Benno Zeisser. But there was no hope whatsoever of relief, and that was the worst thing of all. The German commander surrendered on January 31st, 1943. 2 days later, his starving troops also surrendered.
Even though the battle in North Africa was won, Roosevelt, Churchill, and their commanders met in Casablanca. At the meeting, the two leaders agreed to accept only unconditional surrender of the Axis powers.
Question number 9. What was the mindset of the Japanese soldier, and why did that contribute to the dropping of the atomic bomb? Make sure you're detailed and specific on this one.
Hello, we are Olivia, Shante, Taylor, and Juliana.
Hello. Our topic today is World War II, and our first subject is Japan.
Japan, they believe that it is an honor to fight and to die for your country. Japan was considered fearless and potentially unbeatable. America wanted to end the war with Japan, so instead of bringing more men into the fight, they brought the atomic bomb in to frighten and kill more Japanese. America felt they needed to bomb Japan to end the war because they felt they needed to get rid of some of Japan's military by bombing Hiroshima, which was Japan's well-known military base located in Nagasaki.
Here are some pictures of the ruins after the bombing of Hiroshima.
The first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima and killed 80,000 people. The second bomb was dropped on Nagasaki and killed 40,000.
The topic is the Nuremberg trials.
The Nuremberg trials were against 24 Nazi leaders which were charged for crimes against humanity and against peace and overall war crimes. During the Nuremberg trials, 12 of 24 people were sentenced to death and most of the others got life in prison.
During the Nuremberg war trials, the Battle of Midway was occurring. During the Battle of Midway, Allies island hopped and started winning back the territory from the Japanese.
This topic is about Douglas MacArthur and how he impacted World War II. Douglas MacArthur was a 5-star general whose plane was crashed during the Pearl Harbor attack. How Douglas MacArthur impacted World War II was after Pearl Harbor, he went to Australia to command Allied forces after becoming a general. He also helped stop the war when he accepted Japan's surrender.
Japanese surrendered because of the new and most cruel bomb.
Hey, were the Japans like the Mongols?
Not exactly. They have their differences, like including their appearances. For example, this is a Japanese soldier. And this is a Mongolian soldier. Another difference between them is the amount of people they had. Japan had 1 million, while the Mongols had 1,007. Japan had a shortage of troops, medications, and supplies. While the Mongols didn't have a lot of weapons, they did have an air force and a lot of aircrafts, while the Japanese had very little. Goodbye. Snazzy picture we got for you. It's for you, Jarrett.
This is your final question, number 10. Explain what the government did to discriminate against the Japanese and other minorities during World War II. What did the government eventually do to apologize for their mistakes?
Hello, I'm Anya.
I'm Megan.
And I'm Dylan.
And we're here to teach you about American society and economy after World War II.
In specific, we are going to teach you about opportunities during this time, along with discrimination and the internment of Japanese Americans. On December 7, 1941, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. This is a shock to the U.S. and